When choosing where you fish down the edge at this time of year, it is absolutely vital to put as much distance between yourself and the fish as possible. When choosing my depth, really I want something in excess of 2 foot. It is very unlikely those fish are going to come any shallower. Finding your kit down makes an absolutely massive difference. I mean, you're not looking to catch 200 pound. I just simply want to get bites and get those fish in. The weather is sadly starting to change. It's getting a bit cooler. The warm days of summer are sadly behind us and the fishing is getting a little bit trickier. But that doesn't mean there is still some cracking sport on offer if you do things right. And today, that's what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to focus on margin fishing during the cooler months. Now we're at the end of October. I'm talking about October, November, even December. There's still some great big wobbly fish to be caught down the edge if you do things right. So you're going to join me today at Woodland View, the home of the blue pellet, where I'm going to focus on everything margin fishing to hopefully catch you lot a few more fish throughout the winter. And make sure you watch all the way to the end because they're going to put me under pressure. We're going to do a little bit of a challenge at the end to see what I can catch in a very short space of time. So yeah, don't forget to keep on watching. So first things first, and I want to talk about almost where to choose with your edges. Yeah, the biggest mistake that you can have during the winter is fishing too close to yourself. You have to think about so many different factors in what those fish are doing. Yeah, what they want to do when it gets cold is get away from us. Yeah, and we're all obsessed with getting further and further out into the lake. That's the normal go-to to get bites, but it doesn't always have to be the case. Yeah, fish, they're a cold-blooded fish, cold-blooded mammal. They just want to be where they're warm, where they're happy. So that's not necessarily going to be out in the middle of the lake where there's a wind, where it's nasty. It's not always where they're going to want to be. Yeah, so often it's going to be tucked against them banks, just the sort of area we are today. I mean, the calm, sunny, nice areas of the lake, that is where they want to be sat. So that's my first thing to choose. Yeah, when picking my margin, in the winter, when it's nice and cold, I want to go to the calm areas of my peg. Yeah, I don't want to fish a margin with the wind whacking in. It's just not going to be a nice place for the fish to be. So today, lovely simple peg, both ways are calm, all the wind's over that bank. That is why I've sat here. Next thing is distance. Yeah, gone are the days when I'm going to catch in the lovely little cut-out top gate holes that you get on so many pegs. The fish aren't going to come that close. Yeah, with water clarity, temperature, me making noise, the lack of competition, the lack of need to feed, they don't need to almost risk it all and be there. They're not going to do it. I mean, very few venues you're going to catch that close once it gets cold. So what I want to do is put as much distance as I possibly can between me and the fish. So I'm going to go as far down my peg, be it to a next pallet in today's case, past the next pallet if allowed, obviously depending on where the next angler is and fishery rules and all that sort of thing. But I want to get as far away from myself as I possibly can. Yeah, while still remaining able to fish properly. Yeah, I don't want to fish at 16 metres if it's windy, if it's awkward, but I still want to get that distance. So in today's case, I'm going all the way to, I think 13 metres. I'm just onto my 13 metre section of my pole, right down my peg. I'm actually fishing to the next pallet, which it's not to try and find shallow water like we would in the summer months. It's just to get away. Yeah, I want to go all the way to the pallet because that's the biggest area of peg I've got today that I can find different depths, which is the next thing I want to talk about. So once I've chosen, as I say, an area I can fish as far away as I can, the next thing is just trying to choose those different depths in the winter because they're not going to want to be right in the shallow water. They're going to want to be down a bit. So I want to see what I've got. I want to find potentially the bottom of the slope, but I want to find fairly flat areas. Yeah, I don't want too much of a gradient at this time of year, but I also want some water above the fish. Yeah, I want a minimum of 2 foot, 3 foot, maybe 4 foot, just so those fish are going to be as happy as possible. So that's the next thing to do. I'm going to whiz a plummet on and I'm going to just show you exactly what I'm looking for because it's not about finding that shallow water tight to the bank. I want to find something a little bit more happy, if you like, a little bit more smooth for the fish to feed on. So let's get plummet on and see what we can find. Right, so let's get plummet on and I want to show you first what I'm trying to find. So I've got 2 rigs set up, one for a bit shallower, one for a bit deeper, and the deeper one today, this is what I'm hoping to find. I've had a little quick plumb up, but I don't know exactly what I found just yet. And the little tip I'll give you is the best depth to start at all the time is the gap of your pole. Yeah, the join of your poles, for whatever reason, that is always it's my happy depth. Yeah, that's where I want to start off. I mean, I may have to go deeper, I may have to go shallower, but I'll always set my rig off to start with during the winter around the middle of my pole, which is, what is it? 1, 2, just over 3 foot. Just over 3 foot, 3.5 foot nearly. That is, for me, the best depth in the world to catch during the winter months in the edge. But I might not find it. Might be 12 foot down there, you never know. But anyway, joking aside, let's whiz down there. 20 gram plummet on, proper plummet. Yeah, I need to be able to find out the contours. I need to try and work out what's on the bottom as well. I mean, even though I'm going to be a lot further away from the edge as what I would be in the summer, I could still be fishing on who knows what. Could be bricks, could be rubble, could be sand, could be silt, who knows what. So I'm going to find all that out, and a decent 20 gram plummet does the job. So big rig to start. This is the one, with deeper rig, sorry, to start, that I'm going to fish a little bit further down the slope. And I'm going to drop this. I did have a little poke with my landing net before, just to see, and close to the weeds there. This isn't going to be for this rig. That's going to be the shallowest potential area. So if my rig's set at 3 foot, I know that they're now 3.5 foot. I know I've got 2 footish there, just over 2 foot, nearly 2.5 foot. So I'm more than happy putting a rig in that as well. Just save setting up later on, so I can set up quicker. I can try really, really close to the peg. It's really shallow there. I mean, I've got about 1.5 foot close to the peg. Don't want to fish in that. It's too shallow. They're not going to want to be there. They're not going to be confident. So in this case, I've got my first line. It's going to be on the edge of those reeds. Yeah, my next one. Now what I want to do is just work my way out. Sit nice, hold on to the same bit of pole. I'm just going to work my way out really slowly, sort of 6 inches at a time. And you can see that stayed flat. Another 6 inches. It's going down very, very, very slowly. There, a bit more. So it's a real lovely, lovely, lovely slow incline there. I go to that. There we go, beautiful. So it's reaching that quite quick within 2 foot. I'm going to say it's changing about 10 inch, I'm going to say. Yeah, 8 to 10 inch it's changing. So that is lovely. If you look at that on your arm, it's a lovely smooth incline. Yeah, I know my bait's going to stay on it. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to create a really, really tight pile. It's still going to move, but it's not a silly incline that my bait's going to roll off. Whereas if I go a bit further, keep on going, so I could still fish there quite happily if I needed to, although I'm getting borderline not on a margin anymore. But I can go all the way out to here before the drop-offs occurred. See, there the drop-offs happen. Yeah, another metre further out. So I don't want to focus out there. I don't need to today. Whereas if the gradient to the slope was a lot greater, I may be forced to move further out. If I didn't feel that my bait can stick on that gradient, my loose feed, or my feed, however I want to put it in, I'm going to move all the way out to the bottom of the slope to make sure I'm fishing somewhere where it does. So it may be that you completely disregard everywhere from the flat touching the reeds till the bottom of the slope. Yeah, today that is lovely, lovely not the case. I can fish nearly wherever I want because of that nice gradual gradient there. You can see it's nice and smooth. And because it's that gradient, I know that it's going to be a nice hard bottom as well. That's never going to change. I'm not going to get any bubbles. There's going to be no debris there whatsoever, silt-wise, soft debris. So I know that my bait's always going to be presenting itself on the bottom. The only other thing I'll do, and just by lifting my plummet off the bottom, just whizzing it about a little bit like this, it lets you know, that might have been a fish. That was a fish. It lets you know if there's any obstacles there. So I know before when I had a little quick sneaky plumb up, there was something here that I got caught on, like there's just a big stone or a brick or something. Yeah, there, it's a bit different there. That's a bit of a bigger incline when I get close to the peg, probably where the keep nets are dropping in. But it also feels a little bit rocky there because I'm feeling an odd stone hit me plummet, an odd step. And often if you find a step, it's not because it's the bottom, it's often a house brick, something like that. It could be anything, but generally a big stone. So I'm going to go just a bit further on, just to here. And that there is going to be my initial starting point, or potential starting point, if I feel those fish are going to be deeper. I mean, I know that I'm a certain distance off the bank. I've got a beautiful far bank marker which is absolutely massive. I always have to have that. I want a far back marker, or in this case, a reflection of a tree I can line up with every single time. That comes into it for accuracy and seeing bites that I'll explain a bit more later. And I've got a mark on my pole. Yeah, really nice. I know that I'm on my 13 metre section. I'm literally holding my 13 metre graphic sort of thing. I can line up to this little, whatever they are, decals on my pole. I know exactly where I'm going to be. I'm going to be dropping that rig within the same couple of inches every single time. So I'm more than happy. I've got a rig at happy depth, my favourite depth, my depth that I've got most confidence in catching in. That is without doubt going to be my starting point. The only other thing I'm going to do, that I won't bother showing you lot, but it's nice and easy. I'm going to set up a second rig for this depth here. It's quite a bit shallower. It is 2 inches underneath my float on that. So I'm going to say a good 8 inch. And that'll just give me some options of pushing the fish up the bank if they choose to do so later on. And I'm also going to give myself a different form of shotting pattern for that, just to give myself a bit of variation. But as I say, we'll talk about that next when I go through the kit. So yeah, plumbing up's done. I'm really happy. I know that I'm fishing a nice area. It's nice and flat. Nice and smooth, shall we say. It's not too flat. Slight gradient. My bait's going to stay there. There's no obstacles. I've got that depth to give the fish confidence, that 3 foot. Maybe even more if I need it. And the last thing that I've emphasised at the start, it's well away from myself. Yeah, I'm 12 metres away, just holding the start of my 13 metre section, 12 metres away. I'm going to say that's almost the minimum I want to choose. So getting that good bit of distance, it just gives them some confidence. So obviously you're dictated to the peg that you draw, where the next angler is, where there's a tree, all those simple things. But these are the things that you need to do if you can. Yeah, hopefully that foliage is starting to die down, which means you can get further down your pegs. And say, trust me, it really, really does make a difference. So plumbing up's done. I'm really happy with that. I'm just going to get my other rig done. And then I want to cut through all of the components to my rigs just to show you, again, the little things that are going to make a difference. It's far from the norm of a bulk on top of a little hook length like we used to do for all the summer margin rigs. These are just a little bit more refined. So that's definitely the next step. I want to show you the rigs and kit that are needed just to make sure we get a few extra bites than what we would using the brutal summer kit. So, fiddly bit of plumbing up done, and now to the technical part, getting the rigs right, because it definitely does make a difference having the right rigs and just understanding what's going on. Now, I spoke about this loads and loads, not just in the edge, wherever I fish. At the winter, when it's tricky and I need to learn as much as I possibly can, I need my rigs to tell me as much as they possibly can. So by using my shot, the right type of floats, I sort of get a gauge of whether there's fish present in my peg or not, which is a really, really big advantage. And the kit for this is no exception. That's exactly what I'm gonna air on now. So I've got my two rigs plumbed up. I've got one in 40 inch, 39.5 inches it actually is. That was my happy depth. That's the one we found. I've got a 0.4 finesse carbon slim on that. Let me whiz that round so he looks the right way for you. 0.4 carbon slim. It's got a bit of stability. Yeah, I need that bit of stability, but as you can see, it's the finesse version. It's not just the carbon slims that I use all summer. It's the fine down version we do, the finesse carbon one that just has a much more delicate bristle, which I need. It is so, so, so important. And with the way it plumbs up there, because I've got that lovely incline, I'm going to be able to really easy get my bait to register on my bristle. So by using a delicate bristle, in that case, then that's a 1.5, nice delicate bristle, I'm going to be able to get my corn, which is my chosen hook bait today. I'll talk about baits in a minute. It's going to show up really nicely on my bristle and create a sort of tight line. I mean, same thing I always talk about, that nice curve, but it's going to anchor my flow and let me know whether I'm too far over depth, too much on the bottom, whatever else, or whether any fish are moving it about. So 0.4 in 40 inches, shotted really positively with number 10 shot. Yeah, I've got a bit of a spread. I want a nice bit of a nice fall at the bottom with these first two number 10s there. One's 4 inches or nearly 5 inches away, just on top of the 4-inch hook length. Then another 3 inches, another 2 inches, another 2 inches, and then about a 1-inch increment. So it's a slight taper, but it's going to give me a fairly nice fall. It's not that anchored down, bulk on top of a 3-inch hook length, really robust, nasty margin rig that we get away with in the summer. Yeah, them days have well gone. I'm almost fishing In fact, if anything, I'm recreating the far bank of a snake lake down the edge. That's the sort of way that I want to fish it. So kit for today, it's all been fine down. Yeah, even though I'm fishing down the edge for potentially some big ones, I mean, there's fish from 5 to 10 pound in here and lots of F1s, I'm still fishing really light kit. I've got 0.16 mainline and I've got an 0.12 hook length. Yeah, more than happy to fish 0.12. Yeah, combined with our 1.6 slick in a 2 meter kit. They've changed everything for me. These having a 2 meter kit with a 1.6. I've got probably what? I don't know exactly. I'm going to say 30 centimeters maybe less elastic than what I have in the old long kits. And it means that I can use a lighter grade of elastic, but it powers in quicker. But it means that the fish leave my peg beautifully. I'm not bumping off any important fish. The skimmers, the F1s, the little fish that might add me weight up. It just makes everything so much happier. So if you haven't had to go 2 meter kits, really are a game changer. But enough waffling about that. So yeah, 0.12 hook length. In this case, I've put a 16. Have I put a 16? No, I've put an 18 X1 on. So I'm still on a fairly decent gauge of wire. I don't feel I can go too light just yet. If I was just fishing for F1s, I might use an X2. I still think I'm going to catch some carp today. So an X1 in an 18 for me is about the perfect hook. Yeah, I'm almost going to contradict what I said in the last video that we did at Cooper's about pellet fishing, that I want a really heavy hook bait, a hook to keep my hook on the bottom to show it up. I want a bit of both on this. I want my bait to sink nicely as well because of that clarity of the water. There's potential of catching fish on the drop. So I don't want too much of a heavy hook. I want the lightest gauge I can possibly have for the size of fish that I'm going to catch or I think I'm going to catch. So kit really simple for that, as I say. 0.4 for the first rig. Fairly condensed shot in. It's going to be able to keep it where I want, but above all else, that bristle, that'll demonstrate a little bit when we go out there. Lastly, my other rig. And this is just in case they're going to be really moody or really good. It'll cover both options sort of thing. And this one, I've got this one in 33 inches it plumbed up at. That was my tightest rig, as close to those reeds as possible. That was my shallowest water I want to fish today. The only shallower water I could find right in front of the peg was down here at sort of like 14 inch. We ain't going to catch in that. Not a chance. So for this, say 33 inch I found in my shallow. So I've got what's in between them? What was that one? I forgot. 40 inches. So I've got a decent depth. I've got a good hook length in between the two. Yeah, I've got about 8 inch in between the two. That makes me really happy. Yeah, it gives me options to skip about that again. I'm going to talk about a little bit more in a minute. That one I've gone with a 0.2 float. Yeah, all the components are the same, 0.16 to 0.12 to begin with, but a 0.2 float it's a massive edge because I'm not trying to create that tight pile anymore. My bait's going to go in a bit of a different way, a bit more of a spread. I'm not creating that super tight method feeder type pile. So I don't need the heavy, stable float. I want the fall of my bait. The clarity of the water means that 50% of my bites are due to them seeing my bait as it comes in. So this rig, that's what it's all about. Yeah, and also I've left a big long lash on it in between the float and the pole. Firstly, because I'm moving into that shallower water, I want to keep my pole away. Yeah, it's even more important now for them not to know what's going on. I want my pole right over the bank, away from where them fish are feeding. So that does that. But also with this rig, it just gives me the lovely option of if the fish really are watching my bait fall down, I can soon move this up to 40 inch and use it on my other line if I need to. But the main reason, as I say, is to get my pole out the way, just so those fish can't see the pole above them. So I say that one's a 0.2. Again, the finesse carbon slims, the more delicate ones, that's going to show me more bites up. And that one is really delicately shotted, just with 3 number 10s. Yeah, really delicate. It's all about the fall. Yeah, so in the bottom, foot and a bit. Yeah, bottom 13 inch. They're just spread out nicely. 3 number 10 shot. Same again. All the components are the same down the bottom end. 18x1 hook, 0.12 hook length. It's geared enough to catch me enough fish. I mean, 0.12 I can catch £30 an hour on 0.12, as long as they're not 3 10-pounders or 2 15-pounders. As long as they're sensible fish, I'm not pulling too hard, I'm waiting for bites. I think it'll get me more bites by fishing 0.12, particularly if there's a percentage of F1s and skimmers in my peg. So to begin with, I'm more than happy to do that. This one, I may beef it up a little bit to 0.14 if I need to. But other than that, things are really simple. Same elastic on that, same 2 meter kits that make all the difference, and that's it. Rigs are ready to go and they cover all my possible options. So the last thing I want to do is put some bait in. I'm going to do that now before I have a little waffle about timing and stuff like that. So initial feed, you can see bait stays simple as. Yeah, I've got some Woodland's famous blue pellets. They're me base mix. They're me attractor. I mean, they're what I want to keep fishing my peg. Bit of smell, just get some fish grubbing about. I've not got any ground baits. It's not allowed here. I don't think I'd use it anyway. I think I'd always prefer some micro pellets, just so I've got some bits that I could spread out more. Ground bait can be a little bit moody once it goes cold, and it's not going to stick on the slope as much as I want it to. So for me, micro pellets are always the way to go. And all I'm going to feed is a pinch, yeah, almost a what we call in them now, toss bottle things, the small pole mounted cups worth. That is plenty, and that's a medium of the pole pots that we do. So that's all the amount of bait I'm going to put in, hardly anything. Don't get me wrong, you haven't got to measure it out, that's a little bit too faffy, but that many pellets to start with, a couple of grains of corn. Yeah, it's absolutely nothing, it's just a toss pot's worth of bait. That is all that's going in to begin with. And where I feed it all depends on how my day's gone. Yeah, because I've got my two options covered. I've got my really shallow water, I've got a bit deeper covered. How my day's gone and how well I've caught, and the moods that the fish have been in the day, if it's high pressure, if they've been right up, if they want to back off, then I know it's going to be a deeper sort of day when they want to hang down. What I've learned throughout the day, and what I'm seeing with other people do as well, is going to dictate where I start my session, yeah, or where I start my margin session. Yeah, I probably spent a minimum of 3 hours out in the lake. I'm looking at the last 2 hours maximum of the session when they're likely to come in. So for me, I'm going to choose then, from what I've seen, like today it's been lovely and warm, we've even seen some swimming about. I'm going to choose the shallower water to begin with, but I want both my options covered. Yeah, normally if it was rock bottom and I wasn't getting any indications, I may start in the deeper water. But for today, I think the shallow water is the best point of call to begin my day and see what's going on. So I'm going to put that bait in the shallow water, and that's where I'm going to fish to begin with. So I'm literally going to put it in, absolutely no bait whatsoever. I mean, it's nothing, is it, compared to what we normally feed in the summer down the edge. And that'd go in, as I say, when I feel things were happening. Let's get that top, get fully falls off. Yeah, once I've seen Fred catch a fish, or once I've seen one bow wave out the edge before I've fed, when I just feel that it's time, because the lake's changing, the fishing's getting better, that is when my initial feed goes in. And I've just bought, as I say, that tiny little bit of bait, that lovely little pile of just those few little morsels like that. It's enough to get the interest of a carp. I'm not going to expect to catch 20, 30 fish down the edge. It's simply not going to happen at this time of year. They're not feeding enough, the competition's not there. I'm looking to draw one fish in and then get my timings perfect that I can drop on it and nail one. That is what it's all about, and it's the rotation of your lines, being able to go down there, nick one, go back on it, see if I get a bite. If not, immediately tells me that it needs to be brought into a rotation, which at this time of year, that is what your margin lines are all about, rotating them, either through the two that I've got, starting shallow, catching one there, moving to the deep one, catching there, or potentially doing exactly the same on another angle of my peg. Yeah, ideal world, I've got both margins I can fish. Today, we're just going to concentrate on one, because we need a lot of cameras to do them both. So yeah, I've got my initial one fed, and then I'm going to give that enough time for a fish to settle on it, 2, 3, 4 minutes, and then I'm going to go straight over it and see what's happening. Yeah, unlike summer fishing where I put more bait in, I'm just going to see if there's a fish in the area. And the way I've fed it, because I've got loose micro pellets and another loose bit of corn, there's no tight pile. Do you know what I mean? It's a nice sort of spread of bait all over the place, just with a couple of pieces of corn about, so that those fish are going to happily graze over. They're not going to clear me out like they would in the summer. So bait's in. I think it's time to catch a fish. So I'm going to impale my piece of corn. It's so important with that bit of corn. I want it to sink me float, and I've got that float shotted really down to a pimple. So if I put it too far into the lake, I know that my corn is going to sink my float. Yeah, which means I'm setting my trap pretty much perfectly, and I'm setting it up for if anything upsets me sweet corn on my rig, I see it, because I've got that nice tight line to my sweet corn. So that's where the 1.5mm bristle and the sweet corn come into it. Feed wise, I put my bait in. Yeah, I'm not going to go straight over that, but what I am going to do is feed my other line. And with this one, I'm going to feed it the same again, just with a sprinkling of micro pellets and a little bit of sweet corn. And this is to cover my options and to begin me potential rotation. So I've got options of where to put my rig. Yeah. By doing it in the same area, I'm not having to go to that side, feed, ship over there. I mean, really, I'd love to do this on the same sort of line, both to my left if I can. So first things first, forget about my rig. I'm going to get that bait in. So I'm going to go to my mark, flick my rig out way, forget about him. I'm going to sprinkle that bait in. That is for later. But just while I'm there, let me just show you. So the way I've got my float shotted, I'll let this settle. This is well off the bottom. So I just want that float to settle. You'll see, I had an indication then, it pretty much sinks almost. Yeah, or it will do. See that float is pretty much sank because it can't support the weight of my corn. Yeah, there we go. See, it's sat now, so it is biblically dotted. Yeah, not how I want it. But if I drag this in now to where it's on the bottom, so give it a bit of time, just let it fall nice and slowly. I'm gonna see that on the way down there. That's why we've got the lovely light rig. I did want to show you that sweet corn settling on the bottom then, but something's intercepted that on the way down. So I'm just gonna hold my line nice and tight. Yeah, let it all settle. Sink that bit of horrible line in between me float and me pole. There you go. See how my float's settled now? Where I've got what? 3 or 4 mil sticking out? So I know my sweet corn is on the bottom. Yeah, whereas checking it further out, I know that if I'm 2 or 3 inches further out into the lake, my sweet corn's gonna be suspended off the bottom. And that was my first proper indication then, when my rig had settled. So that light rig, as I say, lay it out. We've already seen an example of why I want that light rig, because a percentage of my bites are going to come on the drop. Just because it's so clear, the clarity is going, they are watching absolutely everything. So that lovely little 0.2 rig like that means that I'm not only getting the fish that are coming over me bit of a pile, yeah, me little area of loose feed. I'm flipping useless here, come on. Should have had them, they were proper indications then. I'm also potentially catching the fish through the water as well. And although there's no bait falling through the water, it's just that visual aspect. Oh, I don't like that flipping wind coming out of nowhere. Can't see things as well, and if that turns up, Storm Benjamin's on the way. So yeah, I'm just going to hold that rig. Right, let me concentrate and get this in. So I want to get me rig in. If I feel it's too far away and I've not got enough bristle sticking out, I'll just edge it up the slope like that. Yeah, and then once it's set beautifully and I'm happy with it, I'll stick my back shot in the water and I'll get my pole right out the way. See how my rig's on a slight angle now, tipping in? So I know I've got a lovely positive curve toward my hook bait. And I forgot how to strike at a bite by the looks of it. Let's try that again, lay that in again. Definitely fish there. Which immediately has made me really happy because it's made me understand I'm in the right area to begin with. Yeah, with this line, because it's the shallowest one, here we go. Ah, useless. Do that again. What's going on then? I didn't see anything leave me peg or anything. Maybe some little tiny fish there. But yes, because I'm getting indications on it, I'm more than happy that this is the area of the peg to be in. Yeah, they're happy to be in that shallower water at the minute. What I need to decide next, just nick that corn so it's nice and soft. What I need to decide next, or understand next, is whether I can catch multiples, which to begin with is very doubtful. Yeah, because I'm in such shallow water, you find that the fish are even spookier than normal, because while you can nail one, often it takes a little while to catch another one. So that's where my rotation comes in, and that's why I've got my other line fed. But this time I'm going to feed right over me bait, just in case that first initial feed had brought them in, they'd ate it, and then they were sitting off bottom maybe. Now I've got some bait on the bottom. That's it, that's beautifully set now. So I've just got that couple of mil showing, so I know that my bait's on the bottom. Everything's nice and tight. See a little indication then? It's really easy for me to know that there's a fish in my peg. because of that delicate bristle, much more delicate than what we normally use in the summer, it just shows up so much more, so it lets you know there's a bite to be had eventually, either through laying your rig in different or whatever else. You're still getting indications. Just keep it tight, wait for a nice positive Houdini. I'm going to leave me rig for probably a minute, and if I don't get a bite, that's a liner. I'm just going to keep on laying it in because I've got that percentage that I'm going to catch through the water. Just hold that tight. See that then again? There's loads of fish there. I just need to sort them out. It's the tricky bit. I was definitely not expecting it to be this good, this many fish in my peg. I think it's only due to me being sat on my own on a fish-filled lake while it's occurring. Right, let me sort this out. Maybe it's just that they're not settled in this depth. Maybe I am better going further down the slope. We'll see in a sec. I'm trying not to strike at them little wobbles. Let's just sit in and wait for something a bit more positive. Lots of fish in that peg. That's amazed me how many are actually in the area. See how my floats popped up a little bit there? So what I can do, instead of relaying my rig, I can just pull it tight by pulling the pole to myself. And that just tightens everything up again without disturbing my rig, and I'm tight to my hook bait again then. Here we go, like that. So I know the depth doesn't change much there, so I can be nice and patient. Right, I feel like I'm set now. I reckon those indications are just a few crazy F1s that are whizzing into the peg as soon as I feed. Lay that in again. I'm happy with that. I really feel like I've missed my opportunity now. So they're not going to be happy being in that shallow water, particularly as we've got a cameraman about a metre away from them. So they're going to really quickly spook. And if I've missed too many indications like that, by striking and zorroing it to nothings, it's going to mean they go out my peg very, very quickly. But there, we finally got one. And he seems all nice as well. And he's lovely, well behaved, but a big fish. Not where we want to be, just under my chin. Well, it was. It's pinged out now, but he was just under the chin, that one. So not quite right, but a beautiful start. And as I say, on 012 and a 1.6mm slick, everything's still easy landable. But hopefully, with a bit of luck, it's going to get me one or two more bites. It's got to be a bit of corn off. Right, carrying on. So I want to go, as I said, to my deeper one. So I'm going to put my cup on. Just steal that a minute, because this one's got no lid, and I don't want to search for a lid for the next 10 minutes. Whack a lid on, because I don't want my bait to be in that little neat pile. Yeah, the pile that we're obsessed with all summer. Now I'm not that bothered. Yeah, I actually want it to spread a little bit more. So I put my loose micro pellets in that aren't wetted anywhere near as much as they would when I'm trying to create a clump. I can put them in with the lid. It makes them far easier to get to my peg. And I actually want them to spread. You know, I've got no qualms whatsoever about them spreading over a foot or so. Because it's going to keep them fish grazing all over my peg. So, not going to the shallow water this time. I'm going to the deeper water where I put that little bit of bait last time I went in. Shake me pellets in to spread them all over the gaff. But same again, hold it tight. Yeah, and see if there's any fish in that deeper water. Being nice and patient. The same again, I'm seeing little indications. Just because that delicate bristle, I know I keep going on about it, but it does, it shows me so much. Like already I know there's a fish in that peg. Just by the little indications like that. And then we've got one on that line as well. But that was so much neater. Yeah, so much quicker, so much neater. That I've gone in and got a proper bite. Different fish by the feel of it. Could be where me littler fish are hanging out. This could be where the F1s are. Same again, lovely light kit. Just means it's like a dog on a lead. I'm just pulling out my peg. There's no fuss. There's no way that's spooked anything hardly in my peg. With a bit of luck, we can whiz him down. Get him in nice and quick. Oh, you little. Pulling a little bit too hard on that one. I think that was in the mouth. I'm sure it were, but let me try that again. Let me whiz on that one. There are a few more fish feeding than what I expected, but this time again, same amount of bait. I'm going to feed me other line so it's ready. You see, every single cast, you're almost prepping your previous line, your next move. And by rotating it in that way, we can keep them happier for a lot longer. So I'm not going to feed where I'm fishing this time. I'm going to feed there because I'm happy because I've spread my bait. I'm happy that there's still going to be a bit of corn or whatever on the bottom on this deeper one. And if anything, in today's case, yeah, probably because we're pleasure fishing, the lack of bait will probably be a good thing. So you get a bite instantly then on the deeper one. So by going in there now, hopefully the chaos will slow down a little bit. Get a bite nice and quick on this deeper line. So today I said we're doing this in two. We've got both on the same line to my left, and I've got two different depths. There's potential for two more to my right if I needed them. That obviously it's not as good as this when you're fishing a match because all the fish are shared between everyone. Then doing this over 4 lines and skipping all over the place gives you a potential of 2 lines in the best depth. So if you find that 3 foot's the one where we want to be, it's a line of them, didn't strike at that, then at least I've got 2 depths then that I'm likely to catch fish on. Just going to settle on this now just for a minute. Really try and catch them. I think because I've just gone on it, here we go, beautiful. Because we've just gone on it. See how that's leaving me peg though? How docile's that? It's not kicking off, not upsetting anything. I can just bring him round, all nice and lovely. So, shallow rig back on. And as I say, hopefully, things should start calming down nicely now. So it's a little bit better, this, than what I was expecting, but that is just because it's all sat here. But as long as you lot get the general gist of what I'm on about, it's having those lines, hopefully without the liners, and skipping about while still potentially catching pretty quick. And you're putting fish in the net really quick, but you're not trying to catch too quickly over one area. Because by doing that, I promise. Oh, no, I want to feed me deeper line this time, sorry. In the deeper area. Yeah, if you try and flog one area at this time of year, or as it gets colder from now on, they'll very, very quickly associate that area with danger and you'll push them out the peg completely, which is the last thing I want to do. So by being really cautious and just picking them off in this way, say one off one, one off another. I would love a third line today, it'd have been brilliant. So I'm not going to bother with that, but a third line would have been maybe to me right. It'd have been the extreme sort of resting area when I've caught too many in this sort of place. But for what we're doing today, 2 is absolutely fine. I put a bit of a smaller piece of sweet corn on there, a little tiny piece, and it's not registered quite as good on my bristle. You just flick that in, that rig might have dried out a little bit. To find the bigger the sweet corn, the better it pulls your bristle under. so you can work out whether you're in exactly the right space or not. Here we go, beautiful. So that one's on drop. Then all of a sudden my bites become quicker and quicker and quicker. There's always sort of one waiting. Like even the way that left the peg, then it went out and round. It never disturbed me deeper line, which is the next port of call sort of thing. So you're always looking after your next step. But don't get me wrong, there's days, and of course there's fisheries when you can still catch one abung in the edge for the last hour from now until Christmas. But for me, I like to keep things safe and to edge things in my favour. Still, it's hard to catch any quicker. I mean, although I'm picking a different rig up every cast, I'm still getting a bite on whatever line I drop it in within a minute or so, because I've got that lovely little spread of bait. There's not a big pile for them to get full up off. There's not a big pile for them to associate with danger. They're nearly had him then, but the sun popped up. Go. And then out of nowhere, we are absolutely emptying it for that last little period of the match, despite it being rather chilly. 12 degrees it is today. It's really starting to go. But yeah, that is my take on winter margin fishing, or cooler water margin fishing, late season margin fishing. That's definitely where I think we need to go. The little things about keeping that distance between yourself, skipping your lines about, making your rigs as delicate as possible, adding all those little 1% things, or definitely make a big difference in getting those few extra bites and hopefully having a right good end to your session. So I'm going to carry on fishing for a little bit. I think they've got a bit of a challenge for me. I want to catch a few fish. So yeah, let's see what we can catch just before it gets too cold. And I'll catch up with you lot in a minute.
I don't wanna let go.
Right, sorry to interrupt you lot, but the cameraman has just interrupted. Our new cameraman, Ben, he's just questioned my fishing ability. And he said, I now have 10 minutes to catch a 10-pounder fish, because, well, it's really good when we're catching loads of fish. And I said that's a bit extreme, but he wants me to catch 10 pound in 10 minutes. So, I'm going to quickly set my clock. You ready? You ready? Look, I'm doing it official and all that. 10 pound in 10 minutes. It's nearly winter, Ben. It's nearly winter. Right, go on, go. I might have been able to do this back in me younger days. This is one for Brad, Speed Demon. Mine should be, what should my challenge have been? Walk 10 metres in 10 minutes. Pack up in 20 minutes.
Oh, you can do that in 10. Right?
I'm quick at packing up, to be fair. I've got wildlife issues. Come on, look on, it's all good. All the men are running away from the women, aren't they? Noticed? What's happened there? Right, 10 minutes to catch a carp. I know, two 5-pound carp I need. It has actually been very good. We've been doing. Well, you lot are watching the video, so you know. There we go, here's our first one. Probably not in the mouth, but if I land it, I'll take it. For some reason, the fish were just a little bit erratic then. I don't know why. Thought a big heron was trying to eat them. Nobody likes to see. Nobody. Come on. Tangle fixing isn't part of it. It's a blank. If I blank, is that it? The end.
No, maybe there should be a forfeit.
P45 if we blank in 10 minutes. Oh dear. If anyone would like to take on an aging, slightly past it angler, a bit round around the edges, or a lot round, then you get details to me, please. I'll happily take up the job offer. About to be set.
Is that not?
Not in any way. As long as you're getting a lovely shot, though, it's all that matters. Right, I'm going to catch one now. I'm not, because my rig's all wonky now as well. That's why my rig's wonky, because it was over the back of a car. Oh, it's all going to pot. If it wasn't about to pour down, then I'd plead with you to let me start again, but you're not going to, are you? Still got ages. Just warming up. Still just warming up. You might have been right when you said I was past it then.
I'd never say anything like that.
Think it. Yeah. I'm starting to think it.
Really?
Yeah, I'm getting
Oh,
old.
mate. Prime of life.
Right, come on, I'm going to catch one. You ready? You watching that float? That beautifully shotted 0.2 finesse carbon is about to Houdini into the depths with a line bite. Come on. Houdini into the depths. It's weird. I think the bottom down there is quite rocky. Sometimes I feel like I'm fishing, and other times I think my bait's hidden. Like there, I think it's fishing, so I should get a bite now. Patient. I think the 2 fish is a bit out of reach now. I need to just hope for one 10-pounder to stand a chance. Oh, don't do that. This is our first day out together, and I was meant to set a... You're meant to be impressed with me today. I've tried really hard. You're going to go back to the Matrix office and say, that Jamie's a bit... What's going on? Why haven't I caught one? I'm only halfway through. You lot haven't seen much. Not too exciting at the minute, am I? My first blank of the year's coming up, innit?
I'm getting a bit worried, Jimmy.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
You gonna let me start again?
No.
No. It's not gonna rain. We've missed the rain. It should be all right. So many fish down there. It's more impressive that I've not caught one than catching 10 pounds in 10 minutes. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I'm not even going to comment on this because... Wow. 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 See, it's time to replace me. It's just time. Right, now I really need to be quick. How have I not... That one pulled the line. I've got... What are we on? I've got 2.5 minutes.
Oh,
Do I get playing time after it?
Yeah, you get...
I get time to play one if I've actually hooked one.
Yeah, you get 2 minutes.
Oh, right. It's better than nothing, I suppose. I honestly don't... I don't know how that was nearly a calamity as well. There are so many carp down there. Oh, dear. Technically, there's still time to land this. Got 1 minute and 15 seconds. Land this, shit back in, hook another one, and land it. It's about 5.5 pounds this one. Maybe smaller. I'm definitely back in. Definitely. It's because you put the pressure on. I'm not used to it. Crumbled. The pressure didn't take me time and just catch a fish. Tried to get all erratic. I tried to get cocky and catch 20 pounds in 10 minutes. I've had 20 pounds on the hook. Well, be nice, just pop up and give me an easy scoop. So I'm still good at that bit. Right, you're going to give me £4.5 for that one? Thank you. I think I'm done now. I should have claimed £5 for that. No, we're done. Failed miserably. I I 50% achieved the target.
I mean, you lost, what, 4-3?
I have to point it out. I'm at a low point in my career here, and you're rubbing it in.
Entirely your fault, is it? So,
Okay.
oh well.
It's ready now.
I'll try again with someone else.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Right. Challenge. I'm not going to say the word completed, but anyway, we're back on with the fishing. And things have actually calmed down a lot. I mean, I came in the shallower water then to do that, but things have calmed down lovely. And I'm getting nice clean bites now if I fish in the right place. I mean, the issue at first, I think it was just because it was only us on the lake. There were loads of fish coming to the peg. It was a bit scatty, but now that that's sort of finished, I can sit nice and patiently on this line, get a nice clean bite once I've had a little bit of aggro, and catch a fish nice and cleanly in the mouth. But what is massively, massively noticeable that I keep trying is I cannot catch a second fish by going back to the peg that I've just caught it on, which is, it's so standard for when it gets cold. They're doing exactly what I said. They've got no confidence. They are spooking off a little bit. So by having the two lines, I've been able to skip between the two nice and neatly and pick off. Not fast and furious. I'm not catching one a chuck, but I can just pick off an odd big fish probably every 5 or 10 minutes. Chaos that we had to begin with of liners and a lot of fish in my peg. See, so nice. And watch this, see how it's staying in my peg beautifully. I mean, just leaving my peg in such a docile manner. I mean, remember, this is 0.12 to a 1.6 mil slick. And it's like, honestly, like catching pound F1s. They come in so, so nicely, just because there's not a load of pressure against them. This one's going to pull now that I've said that. Everything's coming around nice. Only a fish, you can see what you're off. Might actually be a big F1 this. But the peg has really, really calmed down, just gone nice. See, and by using this kit, I feel like I'm getting an odd bite more than what I would be, but landing fish just as quick as I possibly could with any other kit on. I mean, it doesn't get much more simpler than that. But what I'm literally doing is stacking all the little 1% in my favour, which is what it is all about at this time of year. So the more 1% you can have going your way, the more extra bites you get, and the more of these lovely, beautiful things end up in your net. So that is us. Winter is about to come. Hopefully you've learned a bit from that. If you've not already, please, please, please hit the like and subscribe button, because it means that you're notified for any future videos that we stick out. There are videos coming literally weekly pretty much from myself and the other Matrix anglers. But for now, that is my take on autumn stroke winter margin fishing. Get out there, put all them little things together. Hopefully it'll make a little bit of a difference to your fishing.